In today's session, I want to focus on the OWASP top 10 and kind of specifically look at the security trends for web application security, right? What are those critical risks associated with web applications, right? And how that's kind of like changed, going all the way back to 2013 to 2021, right? So let's first of all kind of like look at 2017. So there was an OWASP top 10 released in 2013, and really, in at that time, that all that information in the top 10 has actually been, came across to 2017, right? So nothing really got removed, and that's why I haven't included a table for 2013. But the big thing was, in the 2013, we had insecure direct object reference and missing function level access, and that essentially got merged into broken access control. But in 2017, we had a couple of new ones, right? We had the XML external entities, okay? So that was new. And then we had insecure deserialization and insufficient monitoring and logging. And those two specifically was community driven. So the security community felt that was important, and that actually came onto this list. So just want to kind of like, before I move on, just kind of highlight that, the OWASP top 10 is a consensus, right, on what those top critical security risks are to web applications, right? So that's why, the community is important, right? So let's now look at, the focus on 2017 to 2021, right? So really the big difference that we actually kind of see here, that, in 2017, injection and broken authentication was the 1 and 2, right? That was the top priority, right? But then that actually, in 2021, that actually kind of got down in the top 10 here. So we kind of see it moving to 3 and kind of moving to 7 there, right? So it kind of came down a little bit in terms of its priorities, right? And what we also see here is that, sensitive data exposure, that's kind of like being renamed as cryptographic failures, has kind of moved up, right? And in addition to that, if we see broken access control, that's number one now. So today, like in 2021 and today, right, where what we see as the number one critical risks to security risks to web applications is broken access control, right? It's all about that accessing and all that kind of good stuff, right? So what we also see is security misconfigurations, right? So security misconfigurations is also kind of like moved up in priority as well. And I would kind of like say here that whenever we're configuring items in there, misconfiguration seems to be that one that keeps popping up there, right? We always going to ensure that our configurations are secure and it's not leaving us open for any malicious activity, right? And then if we look at, in 2017, using components with known vulnerabilities and insufficient monitoring and logging, these have now been moved up, right? So using components with known vulnerabilities, the name's kind of like changed a little bit, and it's more specific. It's vulnerability and outdated components. And if we look at the whole monitoring and logging aspects of it, right, we're now placing more it's not a case of insufficient. It's kind of like looking more at the security monitoring logging failures aspects of it, right? And also, if I look at the 2021 here, right, you'll actually see, there are, there are a couple of new ones in here as well, right? So if we look at just like in 2017 and in 2021, there was new ones as well, and I'll touch base in a minute, but just want to quickly highlight that, there was a number of things in 2017, such as the XML external entities, the actual cross-site scripting, and also the insecure deserialization, the ones that I've highlighted in yellow. And essentially, these have actually been combined into other areas, right? So it's almost, they don't exist platonically on its own. It's been fused into other topics. And that kind of brings on to the final point here. Then in 2021, there were actually 3 new critical risk factors that was actually introduced into the top 10, right? So now we have insecure design. So unlike before, we're now seeing, that design is just as important. and also, the actual integrity aspects of it, the software and data integrity, and also the server-side request forgery. Right now, that one was specifically added in there, and is a community-driven one. So the community felt that that was an important one, so that was added into the top 10. So if we look at the trends, kind of like a snapshot over the last, from 2013 to 2021, we see that consistency, that we see the injections, the broken authentications, the misconfigurations, looking at vulnerabilities. So it's always there, it's always moving across, right? They're not disappearing. They're still there. There's still critical risk, security risk to web applications. But at the same time, we're now looking at aspects of design, right? We're looking at the software and data integrities, right? We're looking on the server side more as well with the request forgery, right? So that's really the kind of like the trend here from, I guess, 2013 all the way down to today.